Greetings and welcome to this presentation about basically it's a non-techie presentation that uses a lot of techie things. So if you're a tech person, that's great, and don't judge me for not knowing everything. I'm a quasi-tech person, okay? And then if you are not a tech person, you're going to be able to use technology that previously only a tech person could use. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And so thank you for joining me today in this presentation. If you want to get the certificate of completion, then you do have to have attended the live session or be one of the folks for whom the recorded session is available. And then once you've viewed the presentation and so forth, then I'll be able to send you the certificate. You can use that for your PDE or whatever you need it for. So we're going to be talking about generative AI, but in particular, we'll be talking about ChatGPT and how you can use this as a way to increase your productivity, basically in an educational setting. Now, you could also use it for any kind of setting where you have to do presentations. So that's what we're going to do today. So first of all, what I want to do is walk you through the process of creating what's called a GitHub page. Now, if you're a techie, you know what GitHub is, and you know that it's a repository, and that it's a place where we can keep a version control of our coding projects or data science projects. But one thing that GitHub does is it offers a free static web page. So you can create your own web page, and I'll show you an example of mine that you can use, and that is very professional. You can put schedules on there, which is what I use it for, but just, whatever else you want to put on there, the limit, it basically is like your imagination. The only thing is that it is a static website. So you can't, it's not simple to link it to a server if you want to do something like that. Okay, so the first thing we'll have to do here is we'll need to, step one, sign up for a GitHub account. Now, I already have a GitHub account, so I won't go through that step, but that's fairly simple. Everybody these days probably knows how to sign up for an account online. So I won't be walking through that step, but then I will go through how to create the new repository for the GitHub page, and then how to use ChatGPT to generate some HTML content. And I'm going to give you the first page. And then once you confirm that if you've attended the live session and you have requested the certificate, then I will also, along with the certificate, I'll send you a template for creating the website with the schedule. All right, so after that, we need to publish the GitHub page. So after we generate the HTML code, so if you don't know what HTML code is, don't worry about it. ChatGPT knows what it is. It's hypertext markup language. And this is basically the kind of code, programming language that is used to build websites, to build the structure of websites. And then once you have the basic website, then you're free to tinker with it and kind of generate your own type of thing, however you see fit. And hopefully by then you'll see how you can use ChatGPT to kind of help you do that. So let me change my screen share now to, we'll go over here. First, we'll go online, and then we'll go to GitHub. So let me try that. And then I'll show you, basically, I'll walk you through this part here. Okay. So now I'm on my GitHub page over here. Well, I'm not yet, but I'm about to be. Yeah, okay. And so to sign up, it's really, really easy to sign up for a GitHub. You just have to click where it says sign up, and then that's it. And I think you have to link your email, and then they'll send you like a code in your email like this. But I already have a GitHub, and the first one I'm going to do, I have a GitHub for two things. And this GitHub, I don't have a repository for. So actually, let me go ahead and do like this because I want to show you the example as well. So I'll open my other GitHub here. Maybe, yeah, I should be able to. Okay, and I'll show you the code and the web page that I have. Okay, so this is the repository, and we're going to be building. We're not going to build all of this. We're going to build some of it though. And let me see if I can show you the page. And this is the web page that I have created. Let's see. Can you see it or not? I think I need to change my screen share. Okay. Okay, so here's a web page that I've created using this process we're talking about here. And as you can see, basically what I use it for is schedules and so to help students be able to understand their schedule, and also homework deadlines and so forth. And then also I created a button here so they can click on this after the exam, and then the solutions will pop up and they'll be able to download those and take a look at them. So when you first create it, it's very basic. I've added some things, so I've worked on it a little bit. So I've got different icons here and links. And this is like the whole thing, what it looks like now. But what I'm going to be showing you is actually like this. So let me just go to the different screen now. Here we go. And obviously I don't have a dark mode here yet. So we're going to create, I'm going to walk you through how to create the GitHub page now. So first, what we're going to do is once you have your GitHub page activated, you'll see where it says repositories. And what we're going to do is click on new. And that's going to let us create a new repository. And that's what we need to do. So for the GitHub page, the repository has to have a specific name. It actually needs to be the name of the user. So it needs to be your username. So in this case, I'm going to say JD Data Science Projects. And then it has to be, we have to use this, where is it? It's .github.io. Okay, so it has to say this. If it doesn't say this, then it's not going to work. All right, so then we're going to, I'm just going to say, this is a website for hosting, and you can make it whatever you want. I'm just going to do this for now. And then we're going to go down here. You cannot make it private because the GitHub page has to be public in order for it to be created, basically. So if you make it private, then all of a sudden your web page will go down, okay? Because the GitHub server won't be hosting the page wherever it's hosting it. I'm not sure. All right, so we're going to say add a README. A README is just basically like a file that talks about what this repository is for, basically. Okay, so we're going to do that. We don't really need we don't need this. We don't need this. And we're going to go to create repository. All right, so now it's creating the repository. And now that it's done this, I'm going to go ahead and configure it. So let's see, we're going to click on settings. Yeah, we've got that. Okay, so hold on, let me go down to, so let's click, yeah, there it is, settings. Okay, I couldn't find it. We're going to go to settings tab, and then we're going to scroll down to where we see GitHub pages. So let's see if I can find that. GitHub pages section. So this is, if you ever want to delete it, go down here to where it says danger zone. And you can do that there. And I'm trying to find GitHub pages, but I'm not seeing it. So there it is right there. Okay, so GitHub pages. underneath code and automation. So we're going to click on this. And then here, I think everything is good as far as deploy from branch. So we're looking for source. Source. So this all looks good. You can add some, oh, here it is. Source, this is what I wanted. Deploy from branch. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Okay, so everything is good here. All right. So you can make a custom domain, but like the more things you do, the more kind of technical it gets. So now I think everything is good to go. And now what I need to do is add some content. Okay, so how to create the page. Right now, the page is not there. But actually it might be. So this right here is my web URL. Okay, so let's see if I can, what happens when I try to go there. Probably nothing yet. Oh, hold on. No, it's just this part. Only the title and the, okay. Okay, so actually, yeah, we've already made something, right? Just with these steps, it just says, what the README says. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to ChatGPT and ask it to help us create what's called an index.html file. So let me go over to ChatGPT and we'll get ready to do that. Okay, let's go here and then here. All right, so now I should be sharing ChatGPT's screen. And I have the ChatGPT Plus, I definitely recommend it. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say, create an index.html file for my new GitHub page. And let's use ChatGPT 4. Add some style to make it bright, and let's tell it the name. The name of the page is JD Data Science Projects. And that's going to be good for now. So because basically I just want you to see how we can actually do this. So it's going to say, okay, no problem. And then it's going to give me some index, some HTML code. So, by doing this, I've learned a lot about HTML code, but you really don't need to know any HTML code for this to happen. I have, but like I said, because oftentimes I want to change something that it's done, or one thing you'll come to learn about ChatGPT is that it's often wrong. And so you have to go and correct it. So here I've got my code. And so now I've got it. I just copy it here. I'm going to go over to my repository. And in my repository, I'm going to click on add file. And I'm going to say create a new file. Now, when you create the new file, it has to have this name, index.html. And this is going to be so that it knows this is basically like the main file of your website. And then I just pasted everything here. And I'm going to commit the changes. Every time you update your GitHub repository, you have to commit. And you can, there's a message here. It's already placed, so we don't need to change that. So I'm going to say commit changes. And now I've got an index.html file. Now it's going to take a little while for this to actually reflect that change. So while we wait, and actually, I think right there is where I'll leave this part. And then I'll send you a template so that you can, actually, let me do like this. So while we wait, let's go over here to my other GitHub. And let me show you kind of like the structure of what it is I have here. So we'll also look at this. So at the top here, you see these little buttons, right? And each of these correspond to a different page. that I can navigate to by clicking on that button. And so here in my repository, every time I create a button, I can link it to one of these different pages here. And so in the page, I've got all the HTML for the page. Now, how did I get this schedule? I told ChatGPT to make a schedule, and I said, make it in a, I told it to make it in this block format where I've got cells like you can see here when you click on any of this. So I told it to make it like this, and then, it gave me something. I didn't like it, and I said, do this or that. Actually, you know what? I just realized you couldn't see any of that. Okay, sorry. And this is live, so I can't really stop. So let me just go back here and show you what I was just saying. So here in my repository, okay, so on the web page, there's these buttons at the top, and each of these buttons at the top is corresponding to a different page, right? And each of these pages is here in the repository. So every time I want to put a new page, I can create a button, and the button is going to be here in the index.html, and you can see all of the buttons in here. They're here. So these are basically all of my buttons, right? And each of my button has the name of the file that's in the repository. So this one, year10math.html. If I go back here, you'll be able to see this page is called year10math.html. So this file holds all of the HTML code that's creating the. All right, so so then once we have once you created the button, then you can create this. You can ask GPT to create the HTML for that particular page. Okay, so now we can go back. I think it's probably finished with the other page. So let me go over here and change the screen. So if you're just joining us, we're just creating a GitHub page, and we have initialized it, and then we've created some HTML. So we created the index.html page, and now there's been enough time that it's probably finished. And when I click this, I'm going to get something different. Yeah. And I do have something different. It's not exactly what I like. It's very strange looking. So then I would probably go back in here and say, and tell it, hey, can you make the title larger and make the colors more interesting? So I don't know, how is it going to interpret that? It's kind of difficult to say. But the more information you give it, the better that it will be able to sort of figure out what you want. And that's kind of what it's really good at. So let's do this, and then we'll rerun that again, and then I'll move on to the next one. So basically it's going to, it might not, one thing you have to know about ChatGPT is like, it might not do everything you think it's going to do. It uses a lot of place fillers and placeholders. And so you really need to check it. And this is also why you can't really get away with making things you don't know something about, at least a little bit. In this case, like here, it's saying add links to your projects here. So everywhere there's a comment, just be aware that that might be something that it's asking you to do. Okay, so now it says that I've made the title larger and adjusted the colors to be more vibrant. So let's see what it thinks I meant. And we'll go down here. So all we have to do is just copy it. And then we'll go back to the repository. And once you're in the repository, to change it, you click edit this file. And what I'm going to do is just do Control A to select all, and then Control V to paste it. Okay, so now I've updated the index.html, and it's going to be a little bit before this one is before the changes are reflected. So while we wait, I'm going to get ready for the next part of the presentation. Well, I think it's going to be a moment. So the next part of the presentation is going to be, I'm going to show you how to create a PowerPoint. Now, I know this thing has been like super viral these days on LinkedIn, especially. There's been this video going around about how you can create a PowerPoint with ChatGPT. But the problem is that if you just try to do it without any other, if you just, wow, okay, so so now it's like very orange. I don't know if I like this color either. So, but this is the general idea. So now, like probably what I would do from here, I would say, let's make it a different color. I would tell, my personal taste is, to make it dark and sleek. But I mean, this isn't bad for, the amount of time it would have taken me to do this HTML on my own. Yeah, it would have been much longer. So that's what I mean when I say it's increasing your productivity. All right, so now I want to turn the attention back to my presentation here, and we'll start to talk about how you can actually create a PowerPoint with ChatGPT. And what I was saying was that there's that viral video of people who are, somebody's creating a PowerPoint with ChatGPT. But if you just try it right out of the box, remember, you have to also remember that ChatGPT, its knowledge base ends at 2021. So there could be, the possibility that there's going to be some difficulty with the VBA code, whether or not it's been updated, so forth like this. So I'm going to give you a template that you can use every time, so that and to get the template, again, you just put your email or comment your email or something, or comment or message me in LinkedIn, and if you've attended, then I'll send it to you. But let me show you how it's done. So first of all, let's just go through this. So we can use VBA code. VBA code is basically like, I know we used it in Excel. I used to use it in Excel a long time ago. And it's a good way to create what are called macros in Excel. And a macro is just basically an automated process that you can create using this VBA code. So it turns out that PowerPoint also has the option to create macro-enabled presentations. So the first thing we're going to do is actually, so first of all, let's just create the PowerPoint, and then I'm going to get into some other things you can do. For example, if you're a teacher, how you can create a presentation, and then you can ask ChatGPT to create some Python code, which I'll show you how to use the Python. It won't be difficult. And then from the Python code, we'll generate a CSV that we can then import into Kahoot. And so basically that whole process that might have used to take, several hours can take about 15 minutes. Now, again, ChatGPT doesn't know everything. So you may have to you may have to check what it's printing out, and you should check what it's printing out to make sure that it's actually legit, that it's not messed up. Okay, so that everything in there is correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over back to ChatGPT, and I'm going to basically show you how this will work. All right, so using the template that I'm going to provide, I will be able to create this VBA presentation. So first of all, let's see, I should be back in the screen now. Yeah. Okay, great. So now I'm back over here on the ChatGPT page, and I'm just going to paste paste what I asked it to do. And then, so basically I'm pasting in the template. So here's the main prompt. I said, create some VBA to create a PowerPoint for teaching how to create a mind map. And then use this as an example. So if you tell it to use this as an example, then it will use that template that you already have and that you already know works. If you just tell it to make something, you're going to spend so much time troubleshooting and trying to figure out why it's not working. And but if you have one template that you know works every time, you can just tell it to use that template as an example. This is the main idea here, is that I use this template every time and everything's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and click it, and then it's going to create some code for me, and we'll wait for it. Okay, so now it's doing that. While it's doing that, I'm going to open up another PowerPoint. All right, it's almost finished, it looks like. So again, as far as the content, you can go back and change the content, or basically quality check the content. And you really need to do that, especially if you're ever trying to do this for any kind of mathematics course, because unfortunately, ChatGPT is right in mathematics as often as it is wrong. And so you might see where you told it to find the roots of some polynomial, and it found something, it calculated it wrong. Okay, so it can do that. It's totally possible, and it happens quite a lot. So be aware of that. Okay, so now I've copied the code, and once you copied, it should say copied. And I'm going to go back over here to this screen. And what I have here is I've got my PowerPoint, and I want to show you what you need. You have to have something called the developers tool tab enabled in your PowerPoint. So to do that, you just go over here to options. Hold on a second. I think I have to end the other one first. And then we're going to go to, wait a moment. Actually, I need to stop one of the PowerPoints so that I can use my mouse correctly. Okay, one moment. I know what to do here. That's weird. Just a second. Okay, seems like I can't do that until I do this. Okay, so let me just go back over here now. Yep. Okay. So now, like I said, you have to have this tab right here. Let me see if you can see that or not. You have to have this tab called developer, right? So that's what I'm going to show you how to get now. So to do that, we're just going to go to file, then go down to options, and you go down to customize ribbon. Yeah, customize ribbon, and then down here, down on the right, actually, where's it going to be at? It could be over here, actually in the left, and then you just add it to the ribbon. So mine's already on the ribbon, so that's why it's not on the left. But for those of you who don't have it, you'll have to find it over here on the left and then click add, and it will appear over here. And then once you have that, so I'm going to go to new blank presentation. And then I'm going to go to my developer tab, and I'm going to click on where it says Visual Basic right here. Okay. Wait, let me go back because now it's not sharing. Okay, so I created a new PowerPoint, and then I clicked on my, so here's what it looks like. Then I clicked on my developer tab, Then I'm going over here to where it says Visual Basic, and I'm going to click on this little box in the middle here where it says module. Then once that pops up, I'm going to Control V my presentation. And I don't really want to save it anywhere, so I'm going to get rid of this last line of the code that says save. And by the way, this is one of those things where ChatGPT assumes that you will create a path. So if you don't either make a path where you want to save this PowerPoint, or if you don't delete this line of code at the end where it gives a fake path, then it's going to cause your presentation to mess up. So make sure that you either give it a path where you want to save the file, or you just delete it like I'm doing. Once that's done, I just go over here to this little button here that says, it looks like a forward arrow. Click that. And what happened? Runtime error. Object does not exist. Oops. So it looks like it did give me an error. And I'm not sure why. So let's try it again. Oops. Okay. So I think it did work. Okay. So here it is. Let me switch the screen now. Where is it? There it is. I've just got so many PowerPoints open right now. Let me close some of them. Okay, let's see. What is this one? I'll close this one. Close that. Oops. Close that. No, don't close that. Okay, so this is the one that we just created. Now, in order to go along with the rest of this, I don't know why it's got an extra page down here. So it can have problems. Usually it's not impossible for there to be some error. So now we're going to go to where it says designer or not. I should be able to click on this. Yeah. Okay. So go to designer, and then you can just select from however you want it to look. So let's just go through here. I actually don't like the white font. It's kind of hard to see it. So we'll go like this, and then you can go through here, add some animations so that everything appears the way you want it to. Let's go back over here. Let's change it to darker color. If you only want to apply to this one, you say apply to selected slide only. And let's just go through here. Okay, so click on the first one, click animate, and I can make all of them appear in order that they're appearing. And then I'll go over here. Let's see what we can get. I kind of like the darker one again. So I'm going to use that and see what comes up. Okay, I'll go with this one. And so by the time, the time it takes to do this is very little time. Now, again, the content, you have to vet the content. Obviously, you can't just assume it's all correct because it might not be. So, but that takes significantly less time than starting from scratch, for sure. And if you're a teacher and you're strapped for time, which seems to be like the name of the game for teachers, then this could be really a time saver. And so now I've got my mind map presentation, and let's say I want to give this presentation to my class, and then I want to follow it up with a kind of informal, fun assessment in the form of a Kahoot, which everybody loves Kahoot for sure. So what I'm going to do now is like this. So I've got another template that I like to use that I can provide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to create some code that will make a Kahoot game in a CSV. So let me grab hold on. So let me grab my template, and then I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so now I've got a template, and let me go back to the mind map. So now we'll go back over to ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT remembers like all of the conversations that it's had. So if I have just written this, right, I can tell it like this, say, so what I'm going to tell it is create some Python code to generate CSV. Well, let's say a Excel sheet, because actually Kahoot won't take CSV, to generate an Excel sheet that I can import into Kahoot. Now, you have to tell it things like this. Be careful about the lengths of the questions and answers, because Kahoot has character limits. Okay, so now I've got my prompt. Now I don't want it to just make on its own. I'm going to give it the template. So I'm going to say, please use this as an example. And actually, one thing I just realized I have not said, we should definitely tell it what topic to use. So, so the idea is I wanted to use the presentation we just created to write. Okay, so now everything should be good. I just need to give it the example so it knows what to do, and I click enter. All right, now just wait a moment, and while I'm waiting, I'm going to go over to Google Colab. And this is a free website that you can use to create, basically it's a Python interpreter, like Jupyter Notebook. And it's free, and it has this memory. You can connect it to your Google Drive. It's very nice. It's very lightweight. So it's also very good for teaching, because you can share with it. But again, so we're about to be using Python code. Maybe you don't know anything about Python code. That's totally fine. You don't need to. We'll call this mind map, because we're just going to take the code and paste it in here, and I'll show you exactly how to get the Excel sheet out. So first, let's connect. We need to connect this. And now we'll go back over here. It's probably finished by now. Yeah, it is finished. And so you can see it's created a question list. Now it knows, because I gave it that example, when I made the template, I made it specific, right? So it knows exactly how to create this. And so now the only thing is it's going to make a CSV. And actually I want it to make a Excel sheet. That's not a CSV. And I forget I think it's XLS. Make a, well, no, that's fine. I'll just save it here. So let's copy this now. We're going to go back to the Python Collab, or sorry, the Google Colab, Python Collab. And I'm going to paste this here. So now let me just find out one thing. Let me just make sure. Because I'd rather not take up extra steps. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna do, wait, what? Okay, so it's gonna change it. I told it I wanted to use 2XL, but it says I have to use OpenPyXL library. That's totally fine. But actually, this is gonna take too long, so I don't care. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run this code. You just have to click this button here, or you can do Control Shift or Control Enter. I can't remember at the moment. And so now it looks like nothing is done. But if you click on this little file over here, you're going to see it says that there's a Kahoot mindmap.csv. So we're going to download that. And then we're going to open it up. And once it's opened, let's see, can you see it? Probably not. So once it's opened, let me just show you what it looks like. Now, usually ChatGPT doesn't make as many questions as you like, or if you're good with, I think this is 10 questions, then that's fine. But usually I like it to have a few more questions. Now, everything is in the correct format. This is the template that I gave it, and this is how Kahoot needs it to be. The only thing we have to change here is that Kahoot expects it to be an Excel sheet. So we're going to go over here and change that to Excel SX. That's what I couldn't remember. Okay, so we're going to change it to an Excel workbook, click save. And then now I'm going to open up Kahoot. And I'll show you how to bring it in to Kahoot. So let me go back over here. All right, so I recently let my Kahoot membership lapse. And they really are aggressive, I swear. I mean, it's great. It's great. And I think they did a lot of good things for free during the pandemic. But man, look, it's so aggressive about getting you back. So I'm going to scroll down here until I decide to pay for it again to continue with basic. And now I'm going to go to create and go to Kahoot. And then it says, what do you want? I'll say blank canvas because everything else I think you have to pay for. Now it says, you're going to go over here where it says to add the questions. And we're going to click on that. And then going to go down to the very bottom where it says import spreadsheet. So first, before I do this, let me make sure that my spreadsheet is in my recent files. So I'm going to save this. And okay, because otherwise it might be a little hard to find it. So let's go here, select the file, and I do see it. And so one of them is a CSV, the other one's a worksheet. Okay. So now we just click upload and everything has been imported. Now, if there's a problem here, like if your question's too long, your answer's too long, that's going to be right here. So we're going to go to add some questions. And now all the questions should be here. This first one will always be blank. Not sure why. I think it's because of the indexing and because the first column is the titles or something. So now you can see, you've got what is a mind map, and it has all the correct answers already chosen for you. And it also has the time limit of 30 seconds. And you can change that. If you don't want time limit of 30 seconds, you can either change it in ChatGPT, tell it you want to have a different time limit, or you can change it in the CSV after you are able to get that. And then you just go in here. Of course, you can add some, you can't add the Getty images unless you, look, one free left. Okay, so I can't do it unless I pay for it again, which I probably will. But you can add the ones that aren't free are just as good. Right. Okay. So, all right. So that ends the part of this presentation about making Kahoots. And now what I want to do is move into how to make another kind of presentation that a lot of people use in academia. So I'm going to go over to overleaf.com. All right, so the website that you can use for this is called, let me go over here. It's called overleaf.com. Of course, if you're already using LaTeX, then you know that you can also use it on your desktop. Just download MikTeX and LaTeX, and you can go from there. So from here, I can create a new project. So let me show you how it works with ChatGPT. So let's go over here. And let's do like this. Okay, so I'm going to switch the screen, share over here. Okay, so now I should be back on this side. Yeah, okay, so now let's say I want to create the same presentation. So actually, let me think about like this. One of the great things about Overleaf and LaTeX is that they're really great for scientific publications and for mathematics. So because they have that, because you're able to type out mathematics. So what I'm going to do instead of like the mind map again, I'm going to ask it to do something more technical. So I'm going to say, create a presentation in Beamer using LaTeX about the normal distribution and the empirical rule. And then I'll say use TIX. Now TIX is a package in LaTeX that you can import and then create visualizations to create any visualizations. And then also we can ask it to add details. But the first time I'm going to just create it. I'm just going to create it like this. I'm not going to ask it to add any details. So let's go ahead and do like this and see what it comes up with. Because a lot of times it will give you only an outline. And that's fine if that's what you want, but oftentimes you probably want more than an outline. So let's just see what it's doing here. Okay, I can see it's creating. Okay, so yeah, I think this first time I'm going to show you the problems that can happen. and then the next one, because what it does is it will smash everything together. It doesn't understand like the concept of using white space, or that every slide needs to contain just one or two ideas on one slide. So it will tend to smash all sorts of things together, and then the presentation ends up looking horrible, and basically you can't use it. So right now it's actually doing really detailed work right now, which I'm surprised, because usually it will just spit out an outline, but right now I can see that it's giving, like, it actually gave the normal distribution PDF, which is an interesting function. And now it's drawing. I can see it's creating a visualization now. And also, if you don't like the TIX package, you can always you can ask ChatGPT to create the visualization for you in Python, and then you can copy that image and paste it into Overleaf, which is very simple to do. Okay, so now let's copy it and we're going to see what we get here. So I'm going to go to new project. Actually, let me switch the screen share. So let's go over here. We'll go to new project, blank project, and I'm going to type in Z. I'm just going to make a short name and create. And now we'll take a look at, so first I'll just do Control V, and let's see what happens here. Let me change this. It's going to print your name. Can't remember my name. Okay, so let's go ahead and click compile, recompile, and that's going to generate the document. All right, so now we can go through here, and actually this one is very nice, except for this graph. This graph is really, really small. So, and this one too. So the thing is, you can get some really good things, and it also didn't, like, you can go back and you can tell it to make this so that it will appear one at a time. So this is a really good first draft. And then what I would do is, especially for this, if you want to know where this part of the code is, you just click on it here. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this, and I'm going to take it back over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, hey, look, it's too small. So let's see what it does when we do that. So say the package looks great, but the visualization is too small. So let's see what it does. Let me make it bigger. And this is good because it didn't start completely over. Sometimes it will start completely over. It looks like it's okay. All right. Okay, so now it's finished. Let's go back over here and click on this, paste, and let's recompile, see if it's bigger or not. And it's a little bit bigger, but yeah, there's still some work. There's still a lot of work we're going to have to do to get this. Let me go back here so you can see it. So I just replaced this code with the new code that ChatGPT gave me. And it created this visualization, which is still too small. So the other thing we could do is we can say, okay, let's create the visualization, or we'll say the same visualization, but bigger and in Python. So what I can do is, so I'll go back over here. So I just gave it the prompt to create some Python code for me. And I'll show you how we can get it to work. Okay, so we just wait for it a little bit. Okay, great. So now we're just going to grab it here, go over to this Google Colab page that I already have open, and then I'm going to go down here, click code, and then paste this in here and shift enter. And I should get a normal distribution. Yeah, and I do. And that's much, much, much better. So now I'm going to just save image as, and we'll just give it a name. Don't really care about the name actually. And now what I'm going to do is go over to Overleaf, just here, and I'm going to upload that file. So let's go here, download, okay, and there it is. And now I just need to include it here. So to include it, we can just start to type include graphics like this. And then in here, I'm going to type the thing that's up there and then click recompile. And you can see it's like way too big. So this is going to be, we can take this little piece of code here, and actually we just need to adjust the text or the width. And I'm going to show you how to do it if you don't know how to. So we're going to take this over here and say the image is too large once I upload it into LaTeX. And then I just want to adjust. And I'm going to give it this. It's going to give me back the LaTeX code. All right. So here we go. So this is going to make it 50% smaller. And that might not be very good, but we'll take a look at it. I think probably it needs to be about 0.8. So all I did was I took the code and I pasted it back in here. And you can see it's much better now. And then what you can do with this Overleaf is you can download a PDF and then open the PDF, and then now you've got a presentation. Okay. And, you know, what good is it if you don't know what any of this is, then having this, being able to create this presentation isn't going to help you. So the idea of cheating using this is kind of silly, because most people will know if you have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe a few people could, I don't know. It just seems like if I would be able to tell if you made this presentation, you had no idea what any of this was, and you tried to present it, right? So aside from being unethical, it's also impractical. Yeah, so there's still one more. And then, you know, for something like this, I would probably like this to appear one at a time. So I would go back and actually, I know how to do it, but to save time, I might still ask ChatGPT to do it. All right, so then the last part of the presentation here is that I want to create a problem set. I want to show you how to create a problem set and solutions in ChatGPT. So first of all, let me just close some things here. Okay. So I'm just going to go through here and close everything. Maybe I'm not going to close everything, I guess. Is it closing or not? Wow, okay. Just closing all these PowerPoint files. My goodness, PowerPoint's being really weird today. Actually, it's not being weird. I just have so many of them open that when the dialog box pops up, I can't find it. Okay. So now the last thing is, in the last 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how to create a problem set in Overleaf, and then how to create the solution set to that problem set. And so let me go back over to ChatGPT. Okay, and we'll just stick with this theme of the normal distribution here. So I'm going to say, create a problem set. And now I don't want a presentation, I want a document. So I'm going to say create a problem set that is a LaTeX document based on the previous presentation. And has about 5 to 10 questions. Okay. Great. Okay, this is based on the previous presentation regarding the normal distribution. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I'll show you how to generate it in Overleaf after this. All right, so when you create the problem set, we're creating a PDF, we're creating a PDF either way, but this one is not meant to be a presentation. So, right. So it's using the information from this that it taught, basically. So it came up with all the facts about the normal distribution, which are like well known, right? Anybody who has Wikipedia could teach themselves everything about the normal distribution, basically. And so it has access to data, like billions of parameters of data, and so it knows all of those things. Although, again, because it's based on a large language model, sometimes it picks the wrong meanings. So we're going to copy this now, and I'll go back over to Overleaf. So let me change the screen again. And so now I've got my presentation made. I'm going to go back here to where it says home, the little home or the little house icon. I'm going to say new project, blank project, and I'm going to say Z distribution problem set. Then do create. And now I'm going to Control V, and let's see what we get. You may use a calculator. Okay, so yeah, it's not bad. Not bad at all. So there it is. So now we've got the problem set, but we also need the solution set. So now we're going to go back in here, and I'm going to say generate a solution set for the problem set you just made. Be sure to write all of the solutions in red font and demonstrate the solution step by step. Okay, so now let's see what we get. Also, let's be sure to tell it to make it in LaTeX. Use, or else it won't. Okay, so now we're going to create this solution set. And when it's finished, we'll grab it. So it knows the solution set that it just made, and so it also can generate the solution. I mean, it knows the problem set it just made, so it can also generate the solutions. Now, this is where it can get tricky because it can get things wrong, and it often does. So you definitely can't just make this and then send it right out. You need to check it, right? And also, you know, if you have some specific questions you want to ask, you can prompt ChatGPT to do that for you. You can say, be sure that you demonstrate, or you ask a question about using inverse normal distribution, or sorry, continue. Or you can say, be sure to ask a question about the skewness or the kurtosis of a distribution, and how that compares to the normal distribution like this. So you can tell it very specific things, right? And you can tell it, this isn't detailed enough. I need more details like this. You can tell it, I need more rigorous, or you can also say, I need it to be more understandable to people who don't study this topic. So any number of the prompts that you can use. Wow, it's really working hard here. And so, for me to do this, if I were to do this by hand, it would take me an incredibly longer time. It would take a long time, basically, like 6 hours probably, for all three, presentation, problem set, and solution set, right? Well, it took me 14 years to learn it. Do I think I need to spend 6 hours to make this when I don't have to? Probably not. Okay, so now let's go here. Actually, did it take that long? I'm not sure. So so you can see it's very literal. It didn't quite make the solutions in red like I wanted. Or is it? Let me just check. So here's where there could be an issue. So I think it misunderstood me. So what I'm going to do is just tell it like that I only want the solution in red, not everything else. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to take it back over here. And I'll say, this is great, but I only want maybe I wasn't, usually it's because I'm not specific enough, right? I only want the final solution to be in red font, not every single character. Okay, and then I'll paste this here so it knows what I'm talking about exactly, and then we'll see what it does with it. Now it might go faster the second time because it's already done everything the first time. So it says, I understand you only want the final answers to be in red. Here's the modified document. Okay, so now we just wait a moment. And this will be the last thing we're doing today. I'll wrap it up after this. Right, so while we wait. Continue. All right. All right, so it's just about finished, it looks like. Okay, great. So let's grab it. And then we'll go back. And paste. And so now I've replaced it, the old code with the new code. And I'm going to recompile. And that's better. Okay, so now I've got the solution set. So I've got the presentation, I've got the problem set, I've got the solution set. And then the only thing you'll want to do is make sure these are all correct. And then also make sure that all the questions you're interested in asking are asked. And also that the questions you're interested in asking are correctly asked and correctly understood. So it will take time, but it will take significantly less time than if you were typing it. So basically, it's like a really, really incredibly advanced assistant. All right. And I know it can do like many, many more things, but this is how you can use ChatGPT in particular in an educational setting to help improve your productivity, decrease the amount of time you spend on these sort of menial tasks, and also while you're doing all these things, you're learning. You're learning about HTML code, you're learning about Python. So everything that you saw here, you could also be learning more about it. So that's it. I hope that you've enjoyed this presentation. To get the certificate of completion, which will say basically that you attended this webinar or this training for using generative AI in educational settings from Dittenber Research Associates. And it will be today. There's no expiration date on it. And you'll have the playback available for the next few months at least, so that you'll be able to go back and check it out. And in a few days or so, I'll post the templates so that you'll be able to access those through my GitHub. Okay, well, thanks so much for joining, and I hope this was helpful, and have a great rest of your day, morning, or afternoon, wherever you're at.